All right. The circumstances certainly are a little bit confusing, and it's unclear how much they pose extremely threatening behavior in the moment versus manipulative behavior. And so I'm going to order a bond of $1,000 cash or secured, pretrial services. If that bond is posted, monitoring or treatment is directed by pretrial services. Domestic violence, you may not possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. You must surrender your firearms. No contact with the alleged victim at this time. Another judge may change that order in the future on your motion. However, at this point in time, I'm ordering no contact. Do not go to her residence or workplace. You may return once to the residence to pick up your necessary belongings. You'll take my order to the closest police station to the residence, and they will escort you to the home to obtain your belongings. Obviously, just to make clear, some of this behavior was clearly threatening and violent. I mean, the specific behavior with the firearm is what isn't clear. And your next court date is going to be May 9th at 1:30. That's for a preliminary hearing. It's possible that court date will change. If you are released, you will want to stay in close touch with your attorney, because if you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm also ordering, I don't know if I said this, that you are not allowed to possess firearms or weapons, and you must surrender any firearms that are in your possession if you are released, okay? All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused.
So now to make it $800. It lands on us. I don't give a hell. It's all that's all right. Was this new? This was the end of Elvin James for the this thing is Australia.
Please state your name.
Richard Padilla.
Mr. Padilla, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here this morning on felony charges of criminal damage, aggravated assault, endangerment, unlawful flight from law enforcement, and failure to render aid. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release, and to prepare for that, I have reviewed the information in the interim complaint, which describes the circumstances surrounding your arrest. I have also reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $20,000, and if you were able to post that bond, that you be released to pretrial services. I have reviewed pretrial services information that lets me know whether you were able to provide any information or references regarding your connections to the community. And it also lets me know whether you have any felony criminal history. Would the state like to be heard further?
Your Honor, he's an NBCA, yes. And the court has the information. This is just wanton and inexcusable. Again, this is a situation where we're lucky we're not looking at 4 decedents. He's a risk. State submits.
Thank you. Defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Only thing to add is that Mr. Padilla is 24 years old. His grandmother, Leticia, said that she would be willing to assume third-party custody and transport him to and from court, as well as provide him with housing. We will defer to the court on a bond amount.
Thank you. Great, so I'm going to order a bond of $10,000 cash or secured. If you are able to post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You'll be required to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs. You may not drive. You may not possess any firearms or weapons. And your next court date will be May 9th at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. It's possible that that court date may change, so you'll want to stay in touch with your attorney. If you fail to appear for court after being released, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you. So there's me about the safety. Okay. Get my officer call probably tomorrow to take the attorneys. Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much. Mr. Ramirez.
Please state your name.
Anthony Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez, you're here this morning on your initial appearance for charges of criminal trespass in the first degree. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release this morning. I have reviewed the interim complaint, which describes the circumstances surrounding your arrest, as well as the state's recommendation that you be held on no bond at this point in time, and that a hearing be set to determine whether you should continue to be held on no bond or whether the court should set conditions of release. And it looks like you were in February released on your own recognizance on another felony charge. When you are on pretrial release for a felony charge and you are accused of a new felony, the Arizona Constitution indicates that you are not eligible for bail. There are some things the state has to prove to maintain that. And so I'm going to set your case for a hearing next week on May 5th at 2:30 for the state to bring that evidence. And the court will then determine whether to continue holding you without bond or whether to release you with conditions. I'm also going to set your preliminary hearing. That'll be on May 9th at 1:30. If you are released and then fail to appear for any future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused.
Absolutely.
Please state your name.
Christina Robson.
Ms. Robson, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here on charges of criminal damage and reckless driving. The criminal damage is a felony offense and the reckless driving is a misdemeanor offense. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you. And we are going to talk about your conditions of release this morning. I have reviewed the interim complaint as well as the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $2,500. And if you are released to pretrial services. I've also reviewed information provided by pretrial services, which includes information about your connections to the community, as well as whether or not you have any criminal history and their assessments and recommendations. Would the state like to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Thank you. And defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Christina is 18 years old. She's employed full-time and is a full-time student. It also looks like pretrial services was able to contact Christina's mother, Erin, who agreed to take third-party custody of Christina, ensure that she makes it to future court dates. With somebody so young with such a lack of criminal history, who it seems in the interim complaint admits to driving too quickly when she's confronted by that or confronted with that by police, holding her doesn't seem to be appropriate. We would just ask for release to pretrial services in this matter, and Christina and Erin can make sure that she gets to court. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Robson, I am going to give you a chance on pretrial services release. You will be required to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. You may not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You may not drive without a valid driver's license. You may not possess any firearms or weapons. You may not have any contact with the alleged victim. I want to impose that there's speeding and then there's criminal traffic offenses, and it's very important that you take seriously these charges and what happened here, because they could have severe consequences. Your next court date is going to be May 9th at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. If you I'm actually going to schedule that for May 19th. If you fail to appear for that hearing, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand? All right, thank you. You're excused.
When you're released, your first call is for services, and your second call is with the office, okay? And then make sure that you move on and contact my office. You're good to go. Stay.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Please state your name.
Isaiah Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here on charges of unlawful possession of a dangerous drug. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release this morning. I have reviewed the state's recommendation as well as information provided by pretrial services and the interim complaint. It looks like you may be eligible for a pre-indictment diversion program that's referred to as STEPS. If you were to be accepted into and then successfully complete that program, it's possible that the state would not go forward with these charges. I am inclined to release you to pretrial services. Does any counsel need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Thank you. And sir, are you interested in being screened for that pre-indictment diversion program?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will set your case for a hearing on May 6th at 9 a.m. At that hearing, they will determine whether you are eligible for the program. You'll also have an opportunity to speak further with an attorney about the program, as well as with service providers and trial services. I also need to set your case for a preliminary hearing. And when we are having someone assessed for the diversion program, I ask if you are willing to waive time from 20 days to 45 days for that hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we'll set your preliminary hearing on June 13th at 1:30. If you are accepted into the diversion program, there's a very good chance that hearing will not go forward. Stay in touch with your attorney, because if the hearing does go forward and you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. So you'll be released to pretrial services. You're required to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. You may not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you may not possess any firearms or weapons while you're on pretrial release. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great, thank you. You're excused for today.
It's pretrial services. Your second is the LD. Okay? And then we have the gun show to this year's and this is the thing to really get the yes. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Please Please state your name.
Andrew Seelig.
Mr. Seelig, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of possession of dangerous drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release this morning, and I have reviewed the state's recommendation as well as the interim complaint and information provided, but I am inclined to order that you be released to pretrial services this morning. Does anyone need to be heard further? Thank you. And you may also be eligible for a pre-indictment diversion program referred to as the STEPS program. If you were to be accepted into that program and then successfully completed, it's possible that the state would not go forward with these felony drug charges. Are you interested in that program, sir?
Yes.
All right. So I will set your case for a hearing on May 6th at 9 a.m. to determine if you are eligible for that program. You'll have the opportunity to speak further with an attorney and also with service providers in pretrial services. And then I also need to set your case for a preliminary hearing. Usually that has to occur within 20 days. However, in order to give time for you to be accepted into and begin the diversion program, would you be willing to waive that to 45 days?
Yes.
All right, so we'll set your preliminary hearing for June 13th at 1:30. If you are accepted into the diversion program, there's a good chance that hearing will not occur. But it's important to stay in touch with your attorney because if the hearing does go forward and you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, so I am ordering that you're released to pretrial services. You must submit to any monitoring or treatment as recommended by or requested by pretrial services. You may not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You may not possess any firearms or weapons while you are on pretrial release. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Your first call, services, your second call is my office. Make sure you go to the hearing on May 6th, okay? Hello? Should you have a conversation with pretrial services after nursing? Okay.
Please state your name.
Yvette Tello.
Ms. Tello, this is the time for your initial appearance. You're charged with disorderly conduct with a weapon. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the Public Defender's Office for Pima County to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release this morning, and to prepare for that, I have reviewed the interim complaint. I have also reviewed the state's recommendation, which is that you be held on a bond of $2,500, and if you are able to post that bond, that you be released to pretrial services. I have also reviewed the Form 4C provided by law enforcement. But at this point in time, I am not able to access the pretrial services website with the detailed information. I do have the recommendations page. What did you want to say, counsel?
I just wanted to add that I'm not seeing a pretrial services workup for Ms. Tello. I'm on the site and I'm just not seeing a workup for her.
Your Honor, this is Lisa from Pretrial Services. Whoever interviewed her last night said that she gave the last name of Igulu, I-G-U-L-U.
Okay, now I see it. Thank you. Great. So I'm reviewing that right now.
Your Honor, the state's going to need a moment on this one because I had to go for previous records and pretrial, not the current one, because I wasn't aware of the Ugulu.
So I'll give everyone a moment to review as I do as well.
Thank you, Your
State
Honor.
recommends 2,500.
Great. So the state has not changed its recommendation. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
Thank you. And is the defense ready to proceed, or do you still need a moment?
We're good to go, Your Honor.
You may go ahead.
We would request pretrial services release in this case. The NCA score is a 1. It appears that the alleged victim in this case, Miss Hella's boyfriend, didn't sustain any injuries and he wants contact. My read of the interim complaint, although I do understand that there is likely probable cause for the charge, it doesn't seem like the knife was being used in a threatening manner against the alleged victim. It does seem from the interim complaint that if the knife was being used in any way at all, it was Miss Tello saying that she might use it against herself. So because of the complete lack of history and the fact that she can return to that house because the victim has a separate residence where he resides, we would request that the court release Ms. Tello to pretrial services. Thank you.
Great. Ms. Tello, I am going to give you a chance on pretrial services release. I am going to order that you must submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services, that you may not possess any alcohol or illegal drugs, you may not commit any acts of domestic violence, you may not possess firearms or weapons, and if you do own any firearms or have them in your home, you must surrender them to local law enforcement. You may not have any contact with Mr. I think it was Nolan. Yeah, with Sean Nolan. At this point in time, a court, another judge may change that order in the future, but at this point in time, I'm ordering no contact. Don't go to his home or his workplace. And your next court date is going to be May 19th at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. If you were to fail to appear for that hearing, a warrant could issue for your arrest. The hearing could go forward in your absence. And if you are convicted and then fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. You're excused for today.
So we released your first call, his pretrial services, your second call, answer any questions you have. Okay, you're good to go. Let's go. Mr. Walter. Thank you. Yeah, but if you ain't walk through something, one, sorry, two, God, you guys are moving right there. Yeah.
Please state your name.
Oh,
hello, Your Honor. It's Jeremy Walters.
Mr. Walters, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of unlawful flight from law enforcement. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. I have reviewed the interim complaint describing the circumstances surrounding your arrest, as well as the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $5,000 and if released to pretrial services. I have also reviewed pretrial services information that lets me know whether you have any felony criminal history. It lets me know whether you were able to provide information about your connections to the community or any references. It also gives me their assessments and recommendations.
Okay.
Would the state like to be heard any further on its recommendation?
State submits, Your Honor.
Thank you, and defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like the court to note that Mr. Walters has no felony history. The only history that he does have, both those offenses were designated as misdemeanors. The most recent of the two was over a decade ago. It does also appear that, for at least from the interim complaint, that there was nobody injured. This was not like many flight cases we see where it ends in a crash or when a search of the vehicle reveals guns and drugs and things like that. It does seem like the worst version of this interim complaint is that Mr. Walters was scared that OVPD was chasing him, and so he ran. I would also like the court to know that he is employed full time. It looks like in an executive position. And it does seem that he has a verified address after having lived in Tucson for 40 years. Because of the how old the limited history here is, that 2012 was a DUI, I would ask the court to consider pretrial services release for Mr. Walters. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I am going to give you an opportunity on pretrial services release, sir. So you will be released to pretrial services. You will be ordered to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. You may not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You may not possess any firearms or weapons while you are on pretrial release. And your next court date is going to be May 19th at 1:30. That is for a preliminary hearing. If you fail to appear for any future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
Thank you.
So you're going to release today. Your first call was pretrial services, and your second call is an LD. They'll be able to answer any questions you have. Okay, you're going to make it. They'll give you stuff. They're not going to have it for a while because it won't be definitely until after this state.
Right.
They'll have to be ready to you. Right. Okay.
Ready to go. Thank you very much. Yes, appreciate you. And Ms. Young.
Please state your name.
Young.
Ms. Young, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here on felony charges of possession of a narcotic drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, and promoting prison contraband. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you. And you do have counsel seated next to you for the purposes of today's hearing. I have reviewed the interim complaints, which describe the circumstances surrounding the charges. And I have also reviewed the state's recommendation, which is that you be held on a bond of $5,000 and if released to pretrial services. I have also reviewed the information provided by pretrial services. That lets me know whether you have any felony criminal history. It also lets me know what information you or your references were able to provide about your ties to the community and what their assessments and recommendations are. Would the state like to be heard further?
State submits.
And defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. It does appear that Ms. Young is eligible for steps. Yeah, I think that I'm guessing the court is concerned about the failure to appear history here. It does look like pretrial services has had contact with Ms. Young's girlfriend, Stephanie, who says that Ms. Young is welcome to stay with her and use her address for mailing purposes and can ensure that Ms. Young makes it to court. If the failure to appear in history is too concerning for the court, we would ask for a bond in the range of $500 just to make sure that she does have that extra incentive to make sure that she makes it to court. But I doubt that anything more than that is really going to make a difference for a case like this. Thank you.
Thank you. And the state had indicated that Ms. Young would not end up being eligible for steps. Is that based on her criminal history or something else?
The S2 charge, taking contraband, that's step eligible, Your Honor.
Great.
Black letter regulation.
My understanding was that when they're on when they're on separate interims, that the interim that does not contain that charge may be eligible. Is that not correct?
That's fine. We'll go ahead and send it to Mr. Goodman to review.
Okay. So I will set the steps hearing to see if any of your charges are eligible, or either specifically the possession charges are eligible for the steps pre-indictment diversion program. That hearing will be on May 6th at 9 a.m. And at that hearing, they will determine your eligibility. You'll also have the opportunity to speak with service providers and an attorney about the program. I am going to order a bond of $2,500 cash or secured. If you are able to post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You'll be ordered to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. And your next court date after the steps hearing will be a preliminary hearing scheduled on May 9th at 1:30. It's possible that court date will change, but if you are released and fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrests. You want to make sure you stay in touch with your attorney. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Good. So, I'll answer your questions, but this is the day we're going to.
That's all I have. Does anyone have anything else?
Well then, Judge, good day.
Thank you.